Hello everyone, and welcome to the final episode of Nemopack. How are you guys doing today? How's life? Getting antimatter is simple math. If I burn fissile fuel at the rate of 60 millibuckets per tick, that means I'm getting 60 millibuckets of nuclear waste. That means I'm going to get 0.6 millibuckets of polonium, and based on the conversion rates, I'm going to get 0.006 millibuckets of antimatter per tick. I need 1 bucket to make 1 pellet. That takes more than 1 hour. Based on the recipes of the endgame items, I think we need 100 antimatter pellets in order to complete them all. If we round things up, that is 100 hours. Obviously that is not something that I want to do, so we're going to have 2 more reactors, and I have improved them by a bit, meaning that instead of burning fuel at a rate of 60 millibuckets, they can do 100. And since we have 3 of them, our rate of getting antimatter has been increased to 0.03 millibuckets per tick, and that brings our total to somewhere around 20-25 minutes per pellet. It's still garbage, I know. Also, I'm not going to go with a sodium-cooled reactor because there's no point. I need to make a boiler, I need to make a turbine, all of them are multi-blocks and all of them are laggy. And also to add to my misery, the wiki really doesn't explain what is the ratio between the reactor, the boiler and the turbine. If these guys that you see over here were a little bit smaller, yes, I would have tested sodium, but they're kind of massive and I really don't want to risk it. However, let us get to the main problem. That is going to consume 300 millibuckets of fissile fuel per tick. How much are we producing? The capacity of the isotopic centrifuge is 256 millibuckets. The capacity of the pump from Create, which is giving us hydrofluoric acid, is 128. So when the buffer runs out, we can only make 128 millibuckets of fissile fuel. That's it. Hey Cubby! How are you today? Another problem that we have is uranium. We are losing it. It's not very noticeable, but we are losing a lot. If you guys remember yesterday, this was 108,000. So we need to improve our uranium production, and we also need to improve our pumps. And I'm not exactly sure if you noticed this or not, but we are actually pumping 51 million RF inside the SPS chamber. So it's literally working at maximum capacity. But let us focus on the main issue at hand, which is uranium. I have been exploring a lot, and you might notice that I have found a decent amount of uranium. 6 veins. Also, this was just for demonstration purposes, I should probably turn them off. And just in case, did we get 2 pellets? Yes. Thank you. Since we are going to have 6 more excavators and a ton more digital miners, I think I'm going to set up the QIO network. We have a decent supply of polonium left, 259, and that should be more than enough in order to make the basic system that I want. Obviously the first thing that we need is a dashboard, so there you go. Then we are going to need 1 drive, which we can't make because we don't have the circuits, and after we have the circuits, there you go, 1 drive. I do have the drives themselves on auto crafting, but instead of making the basic one which can hold 16,000 items, maybe we go with something which is around 1 million? Is it that expensive? Oh, it's crazy expensive. It's fine, we go with 128,000, for now. Why does it take so much time? It's just crafting. Oh, you were making alloys, okay. So here is our drive, and we also make a portable one. So we have already used this guy a lot in all the mod 6 and all the mod 6 to the sky, but it's basically an inventory management system from Mechanism. We just need to have the drive somewhere, and the dashboard does not even have to be near the drive. So maybe we can put it, I don't know, somewhere around here. We put the drive inside the drive array, and we need to give it a frequency. And we're going to set the color to purple. Yes, finally. I missed it like 4 times. I can also set the dashboard to ores, and we are fully operational. If we drop something inside, it will be inside our drive. You see, it's telling us we have 1 item inside. I also have to set a frequency for the portable dashboard, and now we can access our QIO network for ores anywhere that we are. So we are not going to use this QIO network as a basic inventory management system, we are actually going to use it as some sort of an ender chest. And the way that we import everything inside the QIO network is by making some importers. I think we need like 10 of them. Oh good, I can afford it. Also, these guys are not incredibly fast by default, they need acceleration cards, so I don't know, we take 100. So let me do some arrangements and I'll be right back. We can actually dump everything inside here for the moment, I can access them everywhere. Since we are going to reorganize everything, yeah, this is a mess. Let us start with the excavators that we already have. Instead of having the old contraption that we had, we're just going to have an importer. We set the frequency to ores, and I just dump everything inside. Actually, I forgot this is immersive engineering. We need to have a buffer chest. And then we can import everything inside our ore system. And we should set you to import without filter. Very good, it's taking the uranium and lead, and it's putting it inside our QIO network. One thing that I should have checked is that which one of you has the anchor upgrade? Okay, the power one. I have installed all the additional excavators, and this is how fast we are getting uranium. it's actually not that bad. Although you might notice that 1/3 of everything that we're getting is basically garbage. But there is one very important point. At this rate, there is no way in the world that I can quintuple uranium. We are going to use our ore quintupling setup, but it's not going to be enough. So we have used an importer in order to import everything into our QIO network. We need an exporter to export uranium. And I think this quantum entangler porter was for uranium. Good, so we can remove it and replace it with an exporter. So you go up here, I'm going to give you a filter for uranium, set the frequency to ores, and we should be good to go. Yes. That is fast. And the reason that I'm saying we cannot quintuple ores all the time is because we can never keep up with the sulfuric acid. So I think for the rest of them, we're just gonna dabble it. Still, I don't think this is going to be enough, but we need to substitute it by digital miners. We don't have that many choices. Actually, maybe there is a better solution. Maybe instead of dabbling it, we can quadruple it? Because hydrogen chloride is not that difficult to get. Yeah, that could be an option. Are we keeping up? So far so good. And maybe in the meantime we can upgrade some of them to the advanced factory. That should help us by a little bit. Yes, exactly, our production of hydrogen chloride is keeping up. That is good. But just before we continue any further, there is something else that we need to focus on. Our main goal is to get the transcendium ingot, correct? You might notice that in addition to all the crazy stuff, we also need blocks of Terra steel. And that is a lot. And since mana takes time to recharge, I think it's best to make at least a few components. We have a decent supply of mana, and you should also remember, we have a mana bank down here. So in total we have like 28 mana pools. Anyways, let us get some mana steel, some mana pearls, and that is already a ton of mana that we have consumed. So I am not going to make both of the creative items because it does require me to be AFK for at least one day, and I'm not a fan of being AFK because that means I can't play the game, so we're going to make one of them. And therefore we need 16 blocks of Terra steel. That's a lot. You know, considering that the mana diamond recipe is like this one, it is a lot. So can we start with half a stack of rune of mana? No. Ew, living rock. Living rock is not a big deal, but we need also more mana steel. For the moment, 2 more stacks. We don't have to go that crazy, we can craft them in batches of 10. So another very important point. While the reactors are running and we are generating antimatter, I don't want to leave the overworld and I don't want to unload the chunks, even though I have chunk loaders over here. So what we're going to do is that we're also going to set up our digital miners. I also have to go to the end and gather some ender pearls. Although, fun fact of the day, I have to find 8 digital miners. Well, these 2 are close. Also, a lot of you guys have been suggesting to me that instead of looking for all the ores, I should focus on lapis or uranium. That's not a very bad idea, but I need coal, I need iron, I need gold, I need redstone, I need everything. Also, another change that we're doing over here is that instead of using a quantum entangler porter, we're using importer from QIO network. So everything goes inside my ore channel and it's much easier to manage them. By the way, that was the first one. We have 7 more to go. I have set up all of our 8 digital miners and I just wanted to show you something very interesting. So normally in any mod pack when you're mining for resources, lapis is something that you get in the millions. It's almost as common as redstone. We have 78 pieces of lapis from 8 digital miners. And we have 96 diamonds. So it's more rare than diamonds. So I am assuming we can never ever make the creative storage upgrade because that requires 4 supermassive QIO drives. Do you want to know how much lapis they need? Let me show you. We're going to order 4 of them. Polonium is not a problem, antimatter we will get it anyways. But this is integrated circuits. 6,000. That is 54,000 pieces of lapis. I think this is a bug because in this mod pack we have a mod which adds this underground cave system and I think it just overrides lapis. So instead of getting resources, you get garbage caves. Also another issue that I have is that whenever I leave the chunks, the reactors turn off. It's weird because that is chunk loaded, that is chunk loaded, the matrix is chunk loaded, but it happens. Anyhow, now that we have taken care of the ores, and yes, we're still getting more diamonds than lapis, let us fix our fissile fuel. Our problem at this very moment is that we are getting tons of uranium oxide, but our hydrofluoric acid production, or at least pumping of it, is not fast enough. And just to make sure that we're not going to mess things up, I have activated the reactors. Let us see what is our production rate. Our production rate in the centrifuge is 256 millibuckets. I don't really know how much is our production rate in the infuser. So how do we want to do this? I can't really see the numbers, so let us play it safe. I'm going to dismantle this pump, and of course you're going to make a mess, and instead we're going to have 3 pumps. These are the hose pulleys. The pumps themselves are going to go over here, like so. We need to have a cog in order to power the pump and the pulley, so one over there, and one over there. We also need to power them using electric motors, so there you go. And I'm going to set them to 256 RPM. Of course, the electric motor itself is going to require power, so we need a quantum entangler. I should not have done that. Oh no, actually it's okay. The pulleys cannot go down. Some universal cables, like so. And everything has to go inside the rotary condensator so that we can convert it into a gas. And I do have a feeling you're facing the incorrect way, but we will fix you later on. For the moment, we just remove the floor and you should go down. Perfect. And that one. The rotary condensators are going to take the liquid hydrofluoric acid and they're going to convert it into a gas. So we do have a tube, which takes everything inside the quantum entangler, and we should be fine. And we just have to set the channel to hydrofluoric acid. Everything should be connected. And yes, they are facing the incorrect way. I'm assuming if they are fully upgraded, I need some energy upgrades. That should be around 390 millibuckets of hydrofluoric acid per tick. Oh, it's not, it's 64. What? Maybe that is the limit on a rotary condensator, but the other one is doing 128 millibuckets. Yeah, the other one is doing 256. Aha. Okay. Well, everything in Minecraft can be solved by having more machines. So we have 5 pumps. We don't really need to go higher than that because for each millibucket of hydrofluoric acid, we're going to get 2 millibuckets of uranium hexafluoride. And that is a 1-to-1 ratio with fissile fuel. It is, right? Yes, it is. I think our uranium oxide setup is already good enough because you can see the tube, it's filling in very rapidly. The thing which I don't think is going to keep up is the chemical infusers, so we're going to have 2 of them. They also need power, we give it from the back, and they also need the hydrofluoric acid, which we can give it from the side. Both of you are working, right? You don't have speed upgrades. And then we can just put it inside our centrifuge and hopefully that's going to be enough. Let us turn on the reactors one more time and see if it is enough. Worst comes to worst, I need one more isotopic centrifuge. Yeah, okay, the maximum rate for this guy is 256 millibuckets. We need 2 of them, because we're consuming 300 millibuckets. One thing that I forgot to check is that fissile fuel is not radioactive, is it? So I can just break you? We're fine. So we have 2 isotopic centrifuges, both of them are making us 256 millibuckets of fissile fuel per tick. That is very good. The problem is, now we're losing uranium oxide. It's not a very big deal because I can add more chemical oxidizers, right? And maybe upgrade this guy to elite? Let me see. I have added 4 more chemical oxidizers. We are gaining on uranium oxide, very slowly, but that is good, that means it's balanced. We are also finally gaining on fissile fuel even though our reactors are running, so that is perfect. And the most miraculous one is that our uranium production is almost balanced. You see, it's fluctuating, but it's almost the same. Actually, we're losing like 1 or 2. It's fine, we have 88,000, that should be more than enough. Also, another thing that we should remember is that I'm not processing the uranium that we're getting from our digital miners. But I have upgraded these guys to elite, so they're running a little bit faster. I have to upgrade these guys to ultimate. Because you know, the injecting factory is taking 1 ore and is giving us 4 shards. The purifying factory is just processing 1 shard at a time. But I do not have that many circuits and I kind of need them. Anyhow, we know everything works, so let us turn off the reactors, like so. We should reassemble our celestial gateway and obviously hunt some ender pearls. Oh, I have flame. That's not good. Well, I can use my magnet. That should help. So why did we need ender pearls? Well, in order to make the transcendium ingot, we're going to need 4 blocks of Terra steel, correct? And that is a total of 36 ingots. And thanks to the recipe changes in this mod pack, in order to make Terra steel, we actually need to have 2 ender pearls. 1 in order to make the Terra steel, and 1 in order to make the mana diamond. Because if you guys remember, we need the rune of mana. But we also need to have a decent supply of Aeternium ingots, and I have been cooking a bit. We have the Termonite, and then we have to smelt it 1 more time together with netherite ingots. Which is unfortunately a very slow process, but it's okay. We are not in a hurry. Another thing that we should do is that we should start making Terra steel. We need a lot, so I'm not going to do that manually, we're going to have a garbage automation for it. But first things first, let us get some mana steel. We have 49 runes of mana, let us order 20 more. so that you'll be happy. Another thing that we need in semi-large quantities is actually star metal, so let us make that one as well. And yes, we can easily automate it, but I need like 200 of it, so it's not that bad. I am calling the automation of Terra Steel garbage because, well, we're just going to use vanilla redstone. That's it. I know that the explosions behind me are for generating mana, but you do get nervous. Whatever you do get nervous. Anyhow, the mechanic behind the terrestrial plate is that we have to drop the ingredients on top using a dropper, and then we will get Terra Steel after a few seconds depending on how much mana we have. So basically what I'm going to do is that we're going to have an open crate here. We just have a line of hoppers, like so. This one is extra. I placed it by accident. And since we have 3 ingredients, we're going to have 3 droppers facing towards the hoppers. Then some redstone repeaters, some pieces of redstone, and a hovering hourglass. Which by putting 10 sand in, I'm actually going to set it to 10 seconds, but I think we can go lower. But this is just for testing purposes to see if it actually works. How many hearts of diamonds can we make? Okay, 23. So let us convert them into mana diamonds. So if we turn off the timer and I put one of each item inside the dropper and then connect it again, they should drop. Hopefully, yes. Very good, very good. We got Terra Steel. But now we need to collect it. So we are going to have a hopper hawk over here, and I'm going to put a chest next to it so that it will deposit everything inside the chest. So if I drop the quantum entangleporter, it will be picked up and it will go inside the chest. But since we are dropping the items on top of the plate and we don't want them to be collected and we just want Terra Steel, we need to set a filter for the hopper hawk. So we're going to have an item frame with 1 Terra Steel. So if I drop something else, it's not going to pick it up. So you will get 22 mana diamonds, you will get 22 mana pearls, and you will get 22 mana steel. And you should start working. The items drop, they get converted, and we get the Terra Steel. Perfect. And when I told you that making star metal is going to be relatively easy is because I can just do this. There you go. But actually, the thing that I wanted to check is that how many antimatter do we have? 5. We also have 2 in our applied energistic system, which we got yesterday, so we have a total of 7. So basically we can start getting into power, because in order to get into power, we're going to need something called a shattered singularity, which needs antimatter. And just in case you're wondering, yes, this is also the recipe for uranite. Shattered singularity is quantum entangled singularity, which we don't have, so we have to make some. So I got our quantum entangled singularities, that was easy peasy. The problem is that you cannot really automate it using one conveyor belt because this guy has a limited capacity. So I have to throw in the pieces bit by bit. Anyhow, for the moment we have 48, we should get 64. Okay, one more thing that we have to do is that we have to turn off the reactors because I need to go to the end. And since I don't really want to make this trip one more time and turn off my reactors, what we're going to do is that we're going to convert all of these guys into shadow steel. I should also wear my ring, just in case. Very good. When I go between dimensions, I lose my health. That is weird. Also, just wanted to give you an update. Our Terra Steel is ready. Well, at least 22 of them. And our mana situation is not that bad. I think we can make like 22 more. So with the runes of mana we had, I could make 46 hearts of diamond. We need to convert them into mana diamonds. Again. And of course we're going to convert all of them into Terra Steel. So there you go. Start working. I just really hope we have enough mana. That should not be enough for 46. It's okay, nothing can go wrong. If we run out of mana, I'll just pick up the items. We have 64 more chromatic compound, and this time we need to convert it into the radiant ingot? Yes. Did I pick it up? No. Uh-oh. Shouldn't I pick them up? Okay. I thought if I have a magnet I should be able to pick them up. It's not a very complicated thing, we can just have a roof made out of glass and then throw them. Thank you. Why are you going away? Don't fly away, don't fly away. Thank you. Did we get all 46? No, we got 16, okay. I think what we have to do is that we need to wait for it to recharge, because this is too low. We just cut off the redstone and we should be fine. So here is the point. We need the refined radiance in order to make uranite, and we need the shadow steel in order to make the paste. We have already made the patterns for uranite and the paste. Let us make some of the components. Oh, in order to make the basic capacitor, we need matter balls. Ew. Okay, honestly making matter balls is not going to be that difficult. We have our sink, we have our mechanical pipe, we have our matter condenser, we put a 64K inside, and instead of choosing singularities, we just choose matter balls. And I was hoping it's going to be incredibly fast, it's instant. So we have everything we need on auto crafting. The problem is, now we need to work towards getting nitro crystals. Cause in order to make a transcendium ingot, we need 2 nitro capacitors. It's gonna be fun. So we need 1 energizing orb, obviously. Not a terrible recipe, but we are consuming our first 2 pieces of antimatter. I'm also not very sure if this is going to be a waste or not, but I'm going to make 3 energizing rods. Can I make it? No. I got a teeny tiny bit more star metal, and no, in this mod pack you cannot or double it. And can I have the rods? Thank you. Finally. The reason that I put everything on auto crafting is that I don't want to make calculations myself, I don't want to waste anything. Antimatter is incredibly expensive. Just out of curiosity, nothing has changed, right? If I want to get the energized steel, I just have to do this? Yes. So now the question is, how do we automate it? Cause in all the mod 6 we use XNet, we don't have it. We just have applied energistics. Alright guys, it is the next day and I did AFK overnight. I think I was AFK for around 5 hours, and in the meantime, we have 13 antimatter pellets. So I think my calculation that it takes around 20-25 minutes was kind of correct. And yes, everything is offline right now because I had to restart my computer, and I always turn off the reactors because something can go wrong. The problem is that whenever you relog, the fusion reactors are also offline, which is not a big deal. We can reactivate them very easily. Also, in the meantime, our mana buffer has recharged. I added more mana pools, you can see them over here, and also I did make some and I put them down here. Yes, I added these 4 and these guys. So yes, the level of mana in each mana pool is less, but overall I think we have more mana. So let us make more Terra steel. Anyways, before I went to sleep, I was trying to automate the energizing orb from power because I thought we were going to need a lot of crystals. Then I noticed something very weird. So normally the starter rod is garbage, but in this mod pack it has been modified. So the starter one actually gives you 100,000 RF per tick. I did not notice this at first, so I did upgrade my rods to the hardened version using energized steel, and they transfer 1.2 million RF per tick, each and every one of them. And just to put things into perspective, you should remember that in order to make nitro crystals, we need 20 million RF per tick. With hardened rods, 3 of them that I have, this should be done in like, I don't know, 6 seconds. Cause for example, the energized steel is instant. Or if I want to make the spirited version, this is how fast it is. It's crazy. And honestly speaking, considering the fact that I only need 8 nitro capacitors, I'm really not going to automate it. I have a crazy amount of time to kill because I think I need 10 more antimatter pellets, and in the meantime, I just make the crystals. But here is the point, the rest of the mod pack really doesn't have that much content. It's basically repetitive work, getting Terra steel and getting antimatter. That's it. Oh, and yes, I have to fight the Guardian of Gaia like 4 times. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make a montage of me collecting everything, and then I'll be right back for the final crafting. Cause you know, I have 62 Terra steel, I need around 80 more I think, and I don't really know how to fit that inside the video. Therefore, see you in about 5 hours. It has been a few hours later, not 5 hours later, because I did notice that I made a terrible miscalculation. Anyways, first things first, we have 5 more antimatter pellets. Hello Cubby, how are you doing today? And with this I should be able to show you my miscalculation. We need 8 nitro capacitors in order to make 4 transcendium ingots, correct? Well, first off we're missing the brass, but ignore that one, getting that is relatively easy, but you might notice we need 22 antimatter pellets and 102 Terra steel ingots. That is essentially 100 Terra steel ingots in addition to the 140 that we need in order to make 4 transcendium ingots. And yes, I was not expecting 100 more Terra steel ingots in order to make the 4 capacitors, because you will notice it after you have set in all the patterns. Also, one further point, I need 12 more antimatter pellets, which is 6 hours of AFKing, in order to just make the creative motor. And considering that our mana is not recharging fast enough, we're looking at around, I don't know, 10-12 hours of AFKing. And I have a personal problem with being AFK. I have already been AFK for, I don't know, like 10-12 hours so far in this episode, and I'm not going to do that for another 12 hours. Because being AFK basically means that you have to leave your computer on, and you're not allowed to play the game. Also, you're not allowed to play any other games. And considering the fact that I don't really want to continue this mod pack after getting the creative motor, that basically means that I don't have to play the game for 12 hours, so that I don't have to play the game. Yes, this is why being AFK is stupid. So how are we going to finish the pack? Well, we are going to make the antiprotonic nucleosynthesizer. It needs 1 transcendium ingot and 4 nitro capacitors. That is something that we can afford. So we need to make 6 capacitors in total. 4 of them are going to be for the recipe itself, and 2 of them is going to be for the transcendium ingot, meaning that we need 415 crushed brass. That's not going to be enough. But it's okay, brass is cheap and it's relatively fast. Well, from 51 blocks we got almost 4 stacks. Okay, it's not that bad, we need 160 more, that's it. We just need to fight the Guardian of Gaia one more time, and thankfully I still have my flasks from the first fight, and for a very weird reason we still have plenty of golden apples. I have made some crafters and we're going to start making the Transcendium ingot. We need 2 nitro capacitors, and thankfully we have all the material in order to make it. That is very good. We also need quantum entangled singularities, so there you go. So nitro capacitors go over there, quantum entangled singularities go over there, 2 antimatter pellets, 12 Aeternium ingots, like so, and we need 4 blocks of Terra steel. You guys go over there, like so, and we should be good to go. Why are you working so slowly? Okay, fine by me. I did try to use an electric motor, but it was overstressed, so I'm using a windmill. In a few hours, we're going to have our first Transcendium ingot. When the crafter finishes its job. Yes, finally. Come on, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Why aren't you a quest? Oh, cause I never held these in my hand. Ew. Anyways, now that we have our Transcendium ingot, we need 4 more nitro capacitors in order to make the nucleosynthesizer. What are we missing? Just brass. Brass is fine. So before I forget, I can turn these guys off. I forgot to refill these guys, so it could take a while. In the meantime that we are waiting for more brass, we can work on the recipe of the synthesizer. So you go in the center, 4 atomic alloys, 4 ultimate circuits, and 4 steel casing. We also need 8 radiant casing, which goes over there, and the only thing that we're missing is the nitro capacitor. We got 110, and that is enough in order to make 4 more nitro capacitors. Perfect. They are very expensive, just look at the recipe. Because in addition to changing the recipe for the paste as well as uranite, the recipe for the capacitor itself has also been changed. You need 2 of the previous tier. So yeah, it's not the best. Why are we making stone? I'm a bit confused, why are we making TNT in the same machine? Yeah, that was a visual bug. We have our capacitors, my AE2 was confused. And with those 4 capacitors, we can finally make it. In round about 4 hours. It's almost done. Yes, we have you. I do not think antimatter is radioactive, right? I can break you. Yes, and we just put the nucleosynthesizer over here and we give it a little bit of antimatter, so I have to turn you on again. I have never ever used this machine in my life, but apparently you can convert coal into diamonds. Considering how expensive this is, I don't really think that's a very viable option of getting diamonds. Oh, it also converts diamonds into emeralds. Interesting. Anyway guys, I think with that, it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye.